I just want to welcome you guys to our general meeting for the street market. First of all, we're going to start off with our mission statement. Can I get someone to read the mission statement, please?
The downtown East Side Street Market our primary objective is to provide a safe haven from harassment, gentrification, and the pressures of poverty, as well as maintaining a space we can call our own to redeem, recycle, and reuse.
Put it up, please!
Okay?
Turn it up!
Our primary objective is to provide a safe haven from harassment, gentrification, and the pressures of poverty, as well as maintaining a space we can call our own to redeem, recycle, and reuse. In this aim, we hope to engage DTES, low-income residents, and the community at large in a greater spirit of cooperation and understanding.
So I'd like to introduce myself tonight. Myself, my name is Richard Cunningham. I'm one of the co-presidents of the street market, and we will help facilitate and then legislate with the other co-president of the market. I'd like to get on the board up here, just to board. Or row. All the board members, please put up your hand.
You're on what?
For all these people that have any concerns, you talk to them and you can bring back to the board and talk to them.
And they get elected once a year.
So hopefully this meeting is going to be a little over an hour. At the end of the meeting, we're going to have a survey done. If you don't want to do the survey, it'll be $3. If you do want to do the survey, it'll be $5. So it's 3 questions. This is your agenda, mission statement, bordering until it's already done. We're going to have a brief history of the market, our achievement, our new outreach program that we started up on Monday. We'll be talking a little bit about that. Our new vending cards, update our new locations, and then we'll have motion set. Again, motion to accept this agenda. Okay. And who second? All in favor? All right. So can we start with the brief history of the market?
Okay, thank you. My name is Roland Clark, and I'm one of the coordinators for the street market. Most of you will know me. I'm there every Sunday. And I wasn't there at the beginning. So I started about 3 years ago. Yasik also started 3 years ago. And some of you were there at the beginning. It was the middle of June 2010, where a cooperation between the DNC, the Downtown Eastside Neighborhood Council, and Vancouver decided that the ticketing campaign that was happening on the bottle block was just unacceptable. There was a policy by the BPD to just give out vending tickets in the lead up to the Olympics, and the neighborhood decided that they were going to push for a different policy. And that policy was to say that unless there was a safe place to vend many days a week, then it's not fair to just ticket poor people on the street. And Ann was there at the time. I think Richard was there at the time. There were quite a few people. But that was 5 years ago, or almost 5 years ago. And in fact, in 10 weeks, it'll be the 5th anniversary of that statement at Pigeon Park. And the street market has come a long way since then. I mean, just from its roots, effectively as a protest, then it became a neighborhood garage sale, and we've had over 250 consecutive Sundays now. In fact, well, tomorrow will be the 250th consecutive Sunday. The vendors and the neighborhood have not missed a single Sunday in that length of time. So it's a huge achievement, and it's a very, very needed festival for the neighborhood. I just want to go through some of the most recent changes that have happened. Last summer, the City of Vancouver actually helped us upgrade our operations. We now have greeters at all the entrances. We doubled the number of volunteer positions. We now have over 50 volunteer positions. We actually have licensed security guards and a program to send people through training to get licensing through the PST Basic Security Training Program. recently, we got another grant from the City of Vancouver to open this lot. Starting with the concept of just doing outreach to the bottle block and picking up garbage, but eventually to be doing more in-depth surveys of the vendors on the block. Why are they there? What do they need? Who are they? How often are they there? And hopefully these questions will enable us to better create a space where legal vending can take place. And there is less of a need for vending on the sidewalk other days of the week because we can have a space effectively that the vendors can call their own. Another project that we've had recently are these vending carts. You can see the first round of them, there'll be 8 of these. We got to buy these nice umbrellas, and we had a program to encourage local artists. So every single vending cart will be painted by a downtown Eastside resident artist. And actually they'll be ready next month. So we'll roll them out in the street market. And we don't exactly know what the whole system will be, but the idea is that vendors could apply to possibly have them of their own, or maybe store their stuff in them and roll them back here at the end of the day. We can work it out organically. Everything about this market actually has been organic, right from the beginning. And in fact, when I started 3 years ago, there were, I think, 6 different volunteer positions. There was just a marshal during the day, 4 marshals during the day, and then 2 cleanup people, and that was it. Our budget was $200 a day, $225 or something like that. Yeah, per Sunday. That was per week. Then quickly we upgraded through another City of Vancouver grant, and for a long time, for about a year and a half, our budget was about $500 a day, where we had about 25 to 30 volunteer positions. And now, with all the volunteer positions, we have over 50 different volunteer positions, and one of the sheets that we handed out was making sure that everybody knows when those job meetings are. On Saturday, 9 a.m. at Van Doo, we have a job meeting, and here at 9 a.m. on Monday, we have a job meeting. And so the Monday job meetings, you can work the rest of the week, and the Saturday job meeting, you work on Sunday, just for Sunday market. So, I mean, just going through the amazing benefits, the amazing things about this market is, number one, it's completely volunteer run. There's not a single employee in the organization that runs this thing. There's 52 different positions, and Jacek and I are also completely volunteer coordinators. So it's an incredible community effort. And to see that grow and create the kind of market we have now, we deploy over 40 tents on Sunday. We deploy 100 tables. We have between 150 and 200 vendors in our space at Pigeon Park. And just as a rough estimate, I mean, I know that maybe some of you know exactly how much you make during the day, and you might estimate how many vendors are there, but we think there's over $500,000 in business done over the course of a year, if you total it all up. If you think about $50 per vendor, well, there's 150 of them. And then we have 52 events a year. So it's actually, I mean, for a location, comparing it to a retail store, it's actually quite a big retail location. I'm not sure we compete with Army Navy, but we compete pretty well with a big store. There's a lot of commerce going on here.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I just remember throwing our stuff down. I used to bring an old sheet with me, and I went through so many sheets. It was funny because I'm just throwing them out at the end. But I used to make $15, $18, maybe sometimes $25. The most I ever made was $30. And now, because you grow with the market, your product grows, your merchandise grows, and you can make, I've made $180, almost $200 in one day. And I'm going, where did this money come from? Where did it come from? How did I make so much money in one day? It was amazing. But then that's not a weekly thing. I maybe make between 60 and 80. So anyways, I just wanted to share that to say that I've grown with the market, and it's been pretty good. So keep coming.
And actually, I've heard so many stories like that are incredible. I mean, and we can see it. It's such a slow transition that it's hard to notice. But if we look back at old photos and we remember and we write down what we ask people, it's clear that effectively the same stuff. Maybe it's a little bit cleaned up. Maybe it's wrapped up a little bit nicer. Maybe the vendor has their own handwritten price tag on it and takes more care over the presentation. But it's essentially the same used stuff that was there 3 or 4 years ago. But it's probably double, triple the price because the presentation has drawn a different kind of customer in. We just recently had a study by a UBC student from the School of Regional Planning, or I can't remember what the exact place, but he did a study of the customers and found that over 60% of the customers were actually not from the downtown east side. So that's another sign that basically the economic direction is the right direction. It's not just downtown east side people selling to each other in a little circular economy. It's actually money flow into the neighborhood. So if you think about that $500,000 a year, there's a significant percentage of that that's actually just coming in. Other more affluent people looking for deals, looking for a viable, real flea market. And this is effectively what you are as vendors. You are micro entrepreneurs. You're your own business people. That is absolutely within your capacity. And in fact, it's one of the great things to see, the energy in this neighborhood, driving this forward, having people think more about their presentation and drive and think about how they interact with customers so that they can extract a bigger and bigger revenue each Sunday. That's an amazing thing to watch. And to do that without the conventional barriers is absolutely what we're fighting for. Right? That this is something that people in this neighborhood need, and it's actually exhibited by the fact that what's across the street exists 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's a reason for it. So.
The only other people that sell in an informal market are the drugs, and the money's going out of the neighborhood with the drugs. And on the slowest day in the downtown east side, if 3,000 people buy 3 rocks a day, it's $150,000 a day, and that's a huge underestimate. So we've got, I can't remember what that is, but $150,000 a day is multiplied by 365, but it's in the millions, and so we've got a lot of money going out of the neighborhood. It's really nice to see that. There's the Downtown Eastside Neighborhood Council is trying to bring the attention of the what's it called, the Community Economic Development Commission of Vancouver. I applied to be on it. They haven't accepted that. But there is no one really wants to talk about that other economy. And the other part of this thing is there's an actual court case that you got that in your thing? So the Pivot Board, which I'm on the Pivot Board, Pivot was really formed initially to deal with people who are very marginalized, having the law used against them and not having anyone step in and say, wait a minute, the law can be used to advance the interests of people who are very poor. The welfare rates are so far below the poverty line. It would be less than half. Perhaps 30% of what a person needs to exist is what you're getting at $6.10 a month. I get $9.50 for being a kid. It's just shockingly low. We've been in court a couple of times. I'm not going to go into the details of the case, but I think the next part of the case is to say that people can't be deprived of their right to have a garage sale or a yard sale or to participate in the economy at some level just to save their own lives, in the sense that what you need to get by isn't being supplied by welfare, therefore you can't force people into worse and worse and worse conditions. And then there's other things like the informal economy, whether it's legal or not. So there's a complicated court case, but it's going to be very interesting, and it's because of the vendors fighting back against the tickets. Who's had a vending ticket here?
Anybody?
Ever. They're like $200 or $300. They're very, very expensive. If you're so poor that you're selling used stuff on a blanket on the street, why on earth you would be able to pay a fine and they're called vending type tickets. They're never called vending. They're display merchandise on a sidewalk, blocking pedestrian traffic. So there's a whole little class of these kinds of tickets that people get. And anyway.
My name is Raul. Someone here knows me. I was part of the vendor since the beginner. The all administration. Mr. Richard was one of the members. As Roland, the gentleman Jackson, they wasn't there then, right? It was a lot of corruption, honestly. The market was okay, but it was a lot of corruption. I was a victim of that type of corruption. Was honestly, yes. When the new administration comes, well, Roland knows I was one of the board for this new administration. The goal of the market is how it is right now. We are in progress. Everybody, the administration is fine. Thanks. Give you hands. You've been doing a really good job. And I will continue the way, right? Normally, well, I'm disabled. I stay with you guys, for 6 months, spring to fall, because for my medical reason, I have to leave the country, right? I have arthritis. But when I come in, honestly, I miss my market. I miss you guys. I miss everything, So this is like a second home for us on weekends, right? We offer a community service, and we agree we are a big family. So we all work together, and we pushing up. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Roland. Just to reconfirm that what I said earlier is that, this is, all the volunteers are from the same, they're residents of the neighborhood. They all basically work for the protection of the vendors, and every member of the board of the society is on welfare. Every single member of the board of the society is on welfare, and or a disability, or some kind, assistance and so forth. And we have seats devoted for vendors, 3 seats for vendors, 3 seats for volunteers, and a number of at-large seats. And we have, actually, an AGM is coming up in the fall, so if you want to run for the board, it's open, right? So the real management in a legal sense of the organization is by the vendors and the volunteers. And it's working amazingly well, and we're absolutely going to keep it that way. One of the major changes we had to make recently is the idea of the vendor IDs, so the vendor membership. So this, if you have one of these, you also have a membership in the society. You have a legal right to vote in our meetings, AGM, etc. You be on the board. And when we did it, we didn't know how well it would go over, right? Whether people would like their pictures on a card and so forth. I mean, it's a little bit of a risk. But so far, after doing it for about 9 months, we have over 500 cards. So cards made up, people that have signed up, that have picture taken. And I think the crazy question is, I don't know when it'll end. We speculate how many people occasionally vend at our market. We know that at a given time, there's space for 150 to 200 vendors, and we've given out 500 tags for people that vend maybe occasionally, right? Maybe half of them or more than half vend every month or less, but they want to be able to vend. It could be as many as 1,000 or 2,000 that effectively want to use the market somehow to help themselves, right? Maybe they're short on rent for 1 month, or maybe they have extra clutter in their SRO room, but we don't know, so we don't know the answer to this. All we've done is we've tried to make sure that it stays for the people of the downtown east side. Because before we had these ID badges, there were people, we were getting so many customers that you could make as much money there as you could at the flea market and terminal. And the flea market and terminal charges you $25 a table, $40 for a booth, you have to pay in advance, you have to pay whole month, there's big barriers, right? So if we were just getting that crowd from wherever flooding into our market, that would obviously destroy the purpose of our market and change it in a way that would not have the same social benefit. So that's why we hope that everybody is okay with these ID badges, because the main thing we're doing is we're saying, if you're from Surrey, you know what? Set up a market there. Find a little fishing park in Surrey, right? Or Burnaby or New West, right? Find a little street there or a little park and set up your own market. But, we can't have it washed out with people on outside. Well, good question. Obviously this doesn't, give you any rights to be on the sidewalk somewhere in the neighborhood and so forth. Let's put it this way. The details of that are an ongoing conversation, because the city has not closed the door on the idea of different zones around the city where vending could possibly be allowed, maybe certain corners of certain blocks, but then you would hopefully need an organization that could regulate who was vending and what they were selling and so forth, but the details of that are completely wide open. But you know, I don't know. Let's say, don't try to confront the cop with one of these or something, you know. The big announcement is that the City of Vancouver has purchased a permanent site for the street market. So that site is, if you know where Oppenheimer Park is, it's right next to Oppenheimer Park. It's on the northeast corner. There's a big old foundry building there and a large empty lot, but it's a fenced area, and the idea is it won't be just for the street market, but it'll be a mixed-use place. We'll have to share it, but a market can take place there basically a number of days a week. And so this is the first opportunity to basically introduce this idea with you guys and actually talk about some of the concerns that might be buzzing around. It has to do with having a market often enough so that we can possibly provide enough opportunities for the people across the street. That maybe Sunday isn't enough. Maybe they vend 2 or 3 days extra on top of that, but we don't know all the answers. We don't know. Maybe there's some people that need to vend every day and we can't help them, but we can help them often enough. What kind of a market do we build over there, and what controls do we have over who can vend? This is all something that everybody can participate in the conversation about. Whether we can have more amenities there. The thing that we've been trying to do all along is have more festival-type stuff, or maybe banners, maybe, you know, pretzels, those kind of, you know, festival things, soft ice cream, slushies. That will draw more of a crowd, but it'll also be an opportunity for people in the downtown east side to be trained as food vendors, to be able to, you know, have a little shop of their own under a tent, and they're the slushy person, right? As well as some of the art programs that we've had here that can help us identify vendors with real amazing talent and then help them, give them abilities to, you know, give them materials to carve with, or a place to carve, like this lot that's rough and, you know, and so forth. So what we're thinking now is there's a certain kind of market that has existed at Pigeon Park for a long time, and it's become an amazing festival for the downtown east side. And people in the downtown east side have relied on it and go there every Sunday, and it's a meeting place, and it's incredible. And what we need to now think about is what happens over there, and how do we build what we want over there to be the next stage, right? As welcoming as before, and the same way that Teresa said is that the vendors get the opportunity, the same vendors get the opportunity to stay, but maybe sell slightly different goods if they want to, or maybe, you know, maybe we have washing stations, or we have better presentation. Anyway, the ideas are endless, and we want to hear about all those ideas. And the next thing to say is the site won't be ready for a while. We're introducing this with quite a lot of leeway. You know, let's just say ballpark 3 to 6 months. We don't know when it'll all be ready and when we'll start moving, but it'll be a collaborative process with all the vendors to say how we do the move, how fast, what needs to be there, how we organize who vends what day. If we do Saturday and Sunday, who gets Saturday, who gets Sunday, who gets both days. There's a million things to think about and organize, and hopefully we can do it in the same completely open, transparent, organic way that we've done it all along. So I guess the next question is, the next topic is, does anybody have any major questions about it? And we have a bunch of questions to fill out here, and we want your input, concerns, anything.
My concern is, when I think about it the other day from my girlfriend, I'm thinking about it every day, is that I know a lot of my customers are not from around here. So therefore, and I know that because I have regular customers now. And one of them I had to call the other day to say that I was in the hospital. That's why I haven't been around. She called me and left a message. Anyways, she only knows my name. Anyways, my concern is that do we have a plan about letting these people know about our move? Do we get more involved in that? Okay.
Okay, so that's a great question. The question is, do we have a plan for letting all the customers know? And this is actually the first thing that we identified too when we found out is, you know, look, if our vendors come from the population of the downtown east side, they probably are fine, but will the customers know? And will the customers go there? And how do we introduce this? How do we make the move happen in a way that there's no question, you know, everybody will know about it and so forth, and do it properly? And yes, if you want to be part of the process, you can be. It'll be a process that will both include vendors, include our volunteers, and include the wider community, because we also need to make sure that the businesses up there or the people in social housing up there are properly prepared. They know what we're building. They know that we're not going to let certain things that might scare them happen, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be a process, and there's no question we have to have a big campaign so that any customer that's used to coming there will know right away. That'll include postering. It might, who knows what kind of campaign it'll you know, will you know, get built, but that has to be part of it. There's another, okay.
So in the meantime, what we're doing, we have an outreach program that starts Monday morning, so if you guys want to get involved with that, come here at 9 o'clock where we go across the street, we start cleaning, and we start talking to the vendors there, and then informing them what's going on with the market and how they can get involved.
There's another, I just want to add one more thing before I take more questions too, because I forgot to mention this, is, I mean, almost certainly nobody here will care about what happened last week, the TED Talks. It's you need about $9,000 to get into these talks, and there are a bunch of people that talk about technology, entertainment, and design. But I didn't know this until a couple of weeks ago when I talked to this group, is that Vancouver is actually the headquarters of these talks. And a design firm built this amazing wooden tent structure just for 1 week. That's how opulent these people are, right? They built an enormous, huge wooden tent just for 1 week, and they tore it down on Friday, and they had nowhere to put it. So this thing is 40 feet by 100 feet. It's covered. It's got some weird state-of-the-art plastic to cover it from the rain. It's an amazing-looking kind of structure that's supposed to mirror the mountains in North Vancouver. Anyway, we get that building, right? So that building is going to actually be installed at 501 Powell Street, which is the new location, so we can use that. Everybody driving by on Powell Street will say, hey, holy crap, what's that big thing there? And it'll have a big street market sign on it as the future home and so forth. So that'll be the start, at least we know. Anything else, then of course we need to add to that. But it's an amazing gift. I have no idea how much a thing like that would be worth, but they needed an organization to give it to, and we got it. So.
Right on.
So anybody that wants to ask a question, please come up. Yeah.
I have an idea that I want to pitch to you guys and everyone. I want to run an open mic at the market. This is going to take everybody. Okay? Yeah? Is this cool? Is this a good idea? She's down. I've been quietly collecting everything, so I don't really need anything from the city or from the market. All I need is an outlet to plug it in and a bunch of musicians to come out and make money and play some songs. And anything that gets dropped in will be theirs. Whoever wants to come up and play. And then there's one more thing with that. Once a month, one Sunday a month, I want to get a good band to come in, like a big band, and all the money that they make, you guys will come back to the market.
Yeah.
Good idea?
Yeah.
Okay, good idea. Okay, there were a couple more hands up there.
Is this market not going to be here anymore?
Yes. So this is the thing. That's another good question. Is well, and it's sort of the answer is there by itself, because we never get to build that over there if that continues to exist and the customers come there. We have to close this to make this a success, right?
Exactly.
So I just recently met someone who helps organize workers that they work in the Fraser Valley but live in the downtown east side because they're still very poor farm workers, and they often get bonuses in the form of fruit and vegetables, and they don't know what to do with it. So that's an interesting idea, right? They could come, and then the market is a perfect opportunity for them to not just waste those vegetables if they can't eat it. All of these ideas, That obviously, we want the opportunity to be for the downtown east side person, but we want the products that will draw customers, right? Fruits and vegetables, even meat and fish. Maybe that's not right around the corner, but it's something that will draw customers, right? A full, diverse market for the whole neighborhood.
Saying that we're going to have some extra days are only a suggestion for those. I have a part-time job, so I work during the week. If we can include, as an idea, some of the major stat holidays that, right?
Yeah, that kind of stuff is much more of an opportunity now. I mean, running a Pigeon Park with our equipment here and the way we organize volunteers, rolling all this stuff back and forth, it's very difficult to make an exception and say, Saturdays or Fridays are always, also a holiday and things like this. But then that's completely wide open at a new site, right? Because the equipment will be on site. It'll be quite different. You can obviously think much more about that kind of thing.
Just one question for me. When do we plan to move over there? Start with? And maybe Jose can answer that. As well as that, how many days do you look at when you move over there?
Well, the plan for the city is between 3 and 6 months. That's what we know. Even this is, we don't know exactly how close is that to the truth. There have to be all the site preparation be done, paving, power, water. So there's a lot of work that has to be done first before we even start. Then the move itself, we cannot shut this down and go very next day to the next site. So the move itself, it will take few months. So the dates, we just don't know. That's why we need you guys to help us with this. We need you guys to help us with the plan, how to make it go and how to make it work. One of those things is going to be a little questionnaire at the end of the day. We would like you guys to take a look at it. And if you have any ideas about the move, about the new site, how would you like to see it, how would you like it to work, how many days, anything, any ideas, any concerns, whatever you can think about it. Because we might not think of few things that might be very important to you, we just don't know it. So whatever you even might feel like something small, but it actually might be important to some vendors. So whatever you think about it, write it down. We will go, through every card, make sure we can answer those questions. And we will answer them as much as we can. Most likely during the weeks, I'm thinking every couple of weeks or so, we're going to put out, what we front 10, we have the tables. We're going to put out the notifications. Anything you happen, we're going to put it over there so you can just come in, take a look. And if there's any more questions, just ask what happened.
So in the meantime, if there are any major concerns that you guys have for the market, like on dates, anything that you guys want?
Corner store, and what you see is run over there, the same at the market. And no booze. You didn't mention booze, okay? Alcohol, weapons. Cigarettes are actually federally controlled, so, but so anything like that. I mean, we have rule sheets that we've handed out in the past. We haven't had that in quite a long time, but these are common sense rules.
Do you have a kissing booth?
We don't have a medical marijuana kiosk yet. Who knows? That seems to be tolerated or legal. I just wanted to point out that there's some people here from the city of Vancouver. Can you guys wave?
The City Foundation bought a number of our tents and our plastic tables and 2 of the containers. No, actually, this tent was from a Downtown Eastside capital grant through the City of Vancouver. Again, thank you. There's a bunch of different funds floating around the City of Vancouver, and they've actually been very helpful recently. We also have a project with the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association for cleaning up around their area, Victory Square and Pigeon Park and so forth. I mean, yeah, well, okay, we can thank everybody. Yeah, AHA Media very kindly videotapes our meetings and comes and photographs the market. If nobody has seen the blog, you can go to our blog. We can give you the address. We can write it down for you. There's actually a blog posting for every single market for 3 years now. So you can see pictures from those markets, and you can actually see the evolution too. The number of tents there, things that are sold, whether they're on the ground or on tables and so forth. It's really interesting to kind of comb back a year or two and see what the market used to look like. We're going to have there will be many more meetings before the move takes place, of course, and don't be afraid to ask on Sunday, because every week the plan will undoubtedly evolve and the details will be more and more known to us, right?
So when we go to this new site, that's what I'm encouraging. Whether noise was an issue here, we fought with these neighbors here. I just want to say you'll hear rumors that we've been terrible for that neighborhood, and it is simply not true. Sorry. We started just on the ground. People would put their stuff out, and we couldn't get a clear path for anyone to walk through, and it took us 6 months. And just as I was saying, this is hopeless, we'll never get it done, miraculously, partly because we just really worked at it for a long time. And now you can walk through, right? And then we saw that Seagull and whatever go buy a very expensive coffee in there, the used store, which then also now we're even seeing the guy who sells used stuff, and it is in the bank building right there, the merchant bank, right on there. He's now open. All of them are open, and they all used to be closed. So they were closed. So we've been very good for their business. So there's a kind of myth that the market's bad for business. That's simply not true. And that's what we want to try and carry that message as we move. There aren't really any businesses next to us over in our new place, but that's part of the concern. If you're right on this thoroughfare and thousands of people are going to walk by, whether they're off of a cruise ship or that they took a bike ride and it's on the bike route, whatever, that's going to be one of the really interesting problems to solve, is to make sure that we're on a route. And I didn't think of what he said about that big structure. It really is going to create a tension. So, and I think what we're going to do is adjourn, right?
Silence, okay?